So Bell's palsy, it really is the partial paralysis of your face. It can be either side, it can be the right side or the left side. And they say it's because one of the facial nerves. They say it can come from several different explanations, like you can have upper respiratory problems, or you can just be under a lot of stress. And so that's how the nerve gets inflamed. And when the nerve gets inflamed, part of your face will paralyze. There's a lot of like symptoms of it. So not only will there be a partial paralysis of your face, but you won't be able to control like your eye, like you can't blink, and so that will so your eyes will just start to tear, and you're just like crying all the time. They also say that your taste buds change on that part of your tongue, so you won't be able to taste the same. But overall, it just looks kind of like your face is kind of puffy and droopy. And I think that's kind of like the worst side effect of Bell's palsy, is that you just look kind of out of it for a while. So Bell's palsy, they say once you start showing symptoms, they say it can last anywhere from like 2 to like 3.5 to 4 weeks. That's the usual time it takes to recover. Some people actually don't ever recover from Bell's palsy. Some of them have it for the rest of their lives. There's also a chance of after you get Bell's palsy that it can happen again to either the same part of your face or to the other part of your face. So Bell's palsy is the actual Bells is the doctor that kind of figured it out why there was the partial paralysis of the face, and he attributed it to the inflammation of the facial nerve. So that's why they call it Bell's palsy. And then palsy is paralysis. The palsy is the paralysis. So Bell's palsy is what he figured out when your face is half paralyzed. So they don't really know the exact cause of Bell's palsy. They say that it comes from, they say they can come from if you're living really stressfully, or if you have upper respiratory problems. They say sometimes it might be even because you have a brain tumor that can cause a inflammation of the facial nerve, and that could be an indication that you have something that's more wrong with you. So those are some of like the probable causes, but when it comes down to it, they really can't pin it down, from what I understand. Everyone has a different specific reason. When I went into the doctor, they're like, we have no idea why you have Bell's palsy right now. But there is a certain age where you're susceptible to getting Bell's palsy, and it's kind of actually a wide range of ages. It's like 15 to 60. So you have that huge chance of getting you have a bigger chance of getting Bell's palsy if you're between the ages of 15 and 60 years old, which is not really comforting. But for the most part, they really don't know. For a lot of people, it's different reasons. For the reason I think I was so stressed was because I just literally graduated from high school the day before, and I was super stressed, like, because I knew I was going to graduate, but I didn't really know if I was going to graduate high school, kind of a thing. And this one that passed over, like, I think that was like just the height of my stress, and then I got Bell's palsy like the day after. That's when I kind of was starting to receive the symptoms. And so for me, I really believe it was a high, feeling really, really stressed out. In the facial nerve, there is a possible chance for it to get agitated again. Once you get Bell's palsy, you can have it again, or you might never have it again. And I have a really, really good friend, and she got Bell's palsy. She didn't receive it. She got Bell's palsy when she was like in her teenage years, and then it went away for a couple of years, and then it came back. And she still can't move part of her face. And she's a wonderful person. She's a beautiful person. But you just never know. She thought she was done with it, and she thought that part of her life was over. She fully recovered, and then it came back. And so not everyone, it doesn't happen the same to everyone. But there are different ways to like treat Bell's palsy. Oh, well, mainly one way to treat Bell's palsy that they have. They give you just steroids. And so once you first receive the symptoms of Bell's palsy, they'll put you on steroids for probably like 5 to 10 days. And you take those steroids every day. And that increases your chance of getting over the symptoms faster, but it also increases your chance of like just getting better overall and not getting it again. But again, they really can't even pinpoint that. Funny you ask, I actually did get massaged. I went to a massage therapist and they, worked on my back, and I try to do exercises and I try to do it in the mirror. I just kind of looked really funny. I didn't really look, you just try to move your face, and the thing is, you can't move it. That's what it comes down to. But I know people try to do massages, people try to massage your face, people try to like eat healthier. Which the point is, you want your body to be as healthy as it can be so that it has a higher chance of healing itself. I think that's what the general concept is. Well, you just basically try to smile. You just try to smile really big, and because if not, you kind of look like this. You're just like, you're not really smiling. And so you just try to move your face. You try to blink your eyes. You try to move your forehead. You just try to move your lips around like that. Those are kind of some of the exercises you can do. And just kind of like massaging your head like that. Just moving the muscles and moving the blood in your face around. But they don't really know if that helps or not. You just do it to comfort yourself. I also received like a back massage too. And if someone's going to massage you, you might as well get a back massage too. It's basically the lesson. I don't think so. From my experience, I was probably, most of the symptoms were gone in like 2.5 to 3 weeks, but it was like a whole month before I was really able to move my face. And then for a long time after that, even though I did massage my face and I also did take the steroids, that whenever I would get super tired, my face would still droop, which was kind of weird. My face would still droop, and I would still like not be able to move it. I would lose control. I think it's because the muscles weren't used for that period of time that they got weaker. And so whenever it was really late at night, or as I got more stressed, I felt like I lost more control of the right side of my face when that happened. And my face would twitch afterwards. Not during the Bell's palsy, but afterwards. My face would twitch. And I think it still does sometimes. But it's like once in a while, it would just kind of like twitch. And I think everyone has twitches, so I don't really think too much about it. The part of my face that twitches is this part of my cheek, my right cheek. And it'll just like, I'll just look at it in the mirror and it'll just kind of like pulse. And I can't control the twitch. It just kind of happens. And I don't remember that happening before I had Bell's palsy. And it still happens today. Probably the last time it happened was probably like 3 weeks ago, when I just stared in the mirror and watched it kind of like pulse a little bit. But other than that, it hasn't happened in 3 weeks, and it might not happen for another month, and when it does happen, it's just for a very short period of time, maybe like a minute, maybe max. But then I just try to go throughout my day and pretend like nothing's happening. The worst is over. The twitching is nothing. The twitching is it's there, but like I'm good now, so I don't have to worry about it. After I went to the emergency room, I actually had to go see a nerve doctor. I want to say it's a neurologist, but I don't know. I don't think that's correct. I went to go see a nerve doctor, and he's the one that prescribed me the steroids. And actually, it was funny because I had the nerves in my like left knee was like dead too. And I just felt like I needed to ask him about it because I'm like, I think there's something wrong with my nerves. And so I told him like, my left knee is always itchy, but when I scratch it, like I can't like get to the itch. Like I keep scratching my left knee and I just scratch it raw. And I'm like, it's kind of reminds me of my face, how I can't feel anything in it. And he's like, really? And I'm like, yeah. So he got like a safety pin out, and then he like started like poking me on my knee with this needle. And I'm like, he's like, does that hurt? And I'm like, no. And then he started going up my leg, and he's like, boom, does that hurt? I'm like, ow, yeah, that hurts a lot. And he just did that, and then he like drew these lines. And he's like, yeah, probably because these nerves in your knee are dead. You can't feel pain there. And so that was actually kind of a cool thing that happened when I went to the doctor. I realized that I had, not only had nerve damage in my right face, but I also had nerve damage in my left knee. So that's kind of a side thing. Well, I think that happened for a long time. I remember it from like the age of like probably 14, like scratching my knee and not being able to get to the itch. And I still don't think I can get to that itch. It's still kind of itchy sometimes. And it doesn't, it's not itchy. It is itchy. I don't understand the science too well. But I'll scratch it sometimes and I'm just kind of like, it feels like I'm scratching leather. Kind of a thing. Like I'm scratching like the top of it, but it's not helping me feel any relief at all. It's kind of frustrating. But that was kind of like some of the good things about Bell's palsy that I found out what was wrong with my left knee. Funny story, not funny story, but I got Bell's palsy, what month was it? May of 2012. And then I went to college and I came back in December of 2012 for Christmas to visit my family. And my dad's like, I can still tell that you had Bell's palsy. Your face still doesn't look the same. And I was like, I thought it was good. I thought it was great. But then, when I look at pictures, I'm like, yeah, definitely wasn't the same. And then as I thought about that, I realized that I wasn't fully healed yet. And sometimes I don't even think I'm still fully healed yet. I think my right side of my face does lag a little bit compared to the left side of my face. But no one will be able to tell except me. So when I kind of realized that my face was half paralyzed, I'm like, Mom, I have a stroke. I need to go to the hospital right now. And so they rushed me to the hospital. And when I told them I had partial paralysis of my face already, they accepted me in right away. Because in emergency rooms, if you have high symptoms of dangerous things, they let you in first. And so they let me in. And but when the nurse saw me right away, she's like, I don't think you have a stroke. I think you have Bell's palsy. But eventually, so when a stroke happens, it's from the brain, and a Bell's palsy is from the facial nerve. So when to rule out stroke, they had to take me to get a CAT scan. And when I got the CAT scan, they realized that my brain was fine and everything was going to be okay. And so that's how they ruled out stroke, and they knew it was Bell's palsy.
And
So they say slurred speech is one of the main things for stroke or blacking out. You won't black out with Bell's palsy. And the only reason you have slurred speech when you have Bell's palsy is because you can't move one side of your face. And so it kind of sounds slurred, but it really isn't. That's also another indication. But if you have Bell's palsy, you will act perfectly normal. You're just you with a paralyzed face. That's basically it. So when you have Bell's palsy, one of the hints that I received was to just get a piece of gauze or an eye patch to be able to cover your eye while you sleep. Because when you sleep, your eye won't be able to blink. And so the blinking is and you have to have eye drops too. Because when you blink, and it kind of tear production is kind of a thing where Bell's palsy affects. There's no moisture in your eye and there's nothing to protect your eye. So things can get in and fly in. And because you're not blinking and you're not tearing up, that means your eye can be damaged. And unfortunately, I went on a hike while I had Bell's palsy and I didn't wear an eye patch and I didn't wear a piece of gauze. And after, I damaged my cornea because I wasn't protecting my eye well enough. And so when I damaged my cornea, I had an astigmatism for a couple years. It's funny, after a couple years, that astigmatism actually went away because it was just really small. It wasn't too much damage. But good advice, always carry eye drops. And when you go to sleep or if you're going outside, to wear like sunglasses or glasses or cover it up with an eye patch, because things can just fly in your eye and you won't be able to blink to get it out. So that's a good piece of advice. It brings up a whole another slew of problems that you just have to make sure, like your eye you can get an eye infection if you don't take care of your eye properly, because bacteria can get in and you won't be able to flush it out with your tears. So these are just kind of like the side effects of Bell's palsy. That's probably some of the only ones, besides the change of taste. So Bell's palsy it's probably one of the roughest things. I don't want to say it's one of the roughest things I've been through. This past week of college has probably been one of the roughest weeks that I've had. But it's an image thing where you don't look the way you see yourself. And part of your face is drooping. And it looks like someone like shot like Botox in your face, and it's kind of puffy and droopy, and it looks like you just came back from the dentist, and your lips kind of fat. And you just don't want to walk outside because you don't want people to see you like that. And I remember when I found out I had Bell's palsy, I went on YouTube and I tried to find out as much about it as possible from YouTube. And I remember looking at the videos, and I would see these people talking about day 1, day 2. This is day 14 of Bell's palsy. This is day 18. And they would be so sad, and I would laugh because I thought it was so funny. But then I would cry because I was like, I'm going through the same exact thing, and my face, I felt really ugly. I didn't feel myself. And I know it had nothing to do with, people really don't care about how you look, but to me, I felt that when I walked outside the door, everyone's like, oh, his face looks weird. He doesn't look right. He looks special. He looks like he's going through like these physical problems. And I was going through these physical problems, but really not many people really noticed. And that was, people just thought I just went to the dentist that day. But at that moment in time, it was so difficult to feel confident in myself, to be able to look in the mirror, because it's kind of depressing, and to be able to walk outside, to go to the store. I think probably for those like first 4 weeks, 3.5 weeks to 4 weeks, I just didn't want to be seen, and I didn't want people to look at me. I guess if you have a friend that has it, just to remind them that they're still beautiful. they're still who they are, and just the way, because they're going through something really hard, and because their face is paralyzed, it doesn't make them any less them. And to encourage them, and if you see improvement, let them know, like, your face is improving, your smile is getting bigger, or I can tell you have more control of your face. Just those kind of things, because for most people, it's only for a short time and it does pass. And if you're just there for them during that time, and try not to laugh at them. All my younger brothers and sisters, every single time they would look at me, they would laugh. They thought it was the funniest thing, and I guess they're the younger siblings, so it was okay. And my mom laughed a couple times. But just to be able to be there for them, I think that's what's most important. You are beautiful, and you are handsome, and you are amazing, and you'll get over it. It will pass. And for some people, it doesn't. But remember that you're still a beautiful person, and what your face looks like doesn't matter. And people will love you because they love you, not because they love your face. It's kind of a superficial thing. I mean, it is a health problem, but kind of the side effects is like, I don't look how I think I look. And that's okay. That's okay to feel like that. But remember that you're still you. And every day try to build some confidence. Remind yourself that you are amazing and you can accomplish whatever you put your mind to. And as you continue to do that, as you continue to just brave it out in the world, as you walk outside and you hold your head high and you just puff out your chest a little bit, that you will be able to feel more and more confident in your own skin. And when the Bell's palsy does go away, you'll feel even more confident about yourself. You'll feel like you've just went through such a hard thing and now it's over. But don't ever forget that perspective that you had. And when you remember what you went through, remember not to judge other people how they look either. For a lot of it, none of us can control how we look too much. And so a lot of people are going through certain things too. So remember to be compassionate towards people that look different from you. Remember to love them and to support them and to tell them that they're beautiful. And that's the advice I would leave with everyone.